All right, you guys, we're back. Part 2. So I've got this other side to the point where I split it, and I'm going to show you right now how we're going to put it together. And I'll show you how I clean up the welds like we did the other side. Okay, if you look here, I did all the bending and welding and brought it around. All I did was overlap the second one. Now I took my cutoff wheel and cut straight into both of them so they would be, as even as a cut as we can. So now I'm just going to look over here and try to, actually, let me take this other weld out real quick. I'm just taking the weld off. I'm not trying to grind into the rod. Let's take the other one off too. Okay. Now we can. There we go. And just feel it and look at it. When you think it looks good, let's hit it. Let me get my helmet this time. Okay. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is, before we go any further, I'm going to take my cutoff wheel and clean that up. Okay, I need some more weld on it. I got no light right here, you guys. I can't even see, especially with this helmet. I've tried to adjust it down to a lighter thing, but then when you do, you get flash burn. So I'm kind of like damned if I do and damned if I don't. In this area of the shop right here, let me try to get it right where I need it. There we go. Okay, we got it now. I got enough over here. Let's put a little more here. It ain't gonna hurt what you put on it because you're gonna be grinding it off anyway, so. All right, let me clean that again. I don't want to bore you guys with that, and I'll bring you right back. Kind of move and go. All right, let me show you this real quick, guys, and I'm going to finish up cleaning this. All right, as you can see in there, we got a nice clean, and I'll sand that too with some 80, to smooth it out some more. But it's all together. Oops, sorry, I didn't want to fall over that dumb hose. Everything looks good, and we're all on there, and everything's looking nice. All right. Okay, I'm gonna clean all this weld up just like I showed you. Now on these guys, real quick, let me show you this again. Okay, on these, that's obviously a bigger wheel. So when I get into some of these corners, it may not fit, as good in there. See, I'm gonna miss that whole corner. So what I do is I'll get a smaller cutoff wheel. That's why I keep all my little ones like this, and I'll put it on my smaller one, and then the wheel's smaller, so I'll be able to get in there. And all I'm doing is the same thing I just did with this thing here. Just take my weld and smooth. Well, you seen the other side. Just take my weld and smooth it in. Don't take the weld off. We want it to all just be smooth and feel good. Because when we put our mud, we'll just take our finger, kind of like caulking, and put it in there. And then when we sand it, it'll just kind of smooth into that roll. Same with this side. We'll just smooth that in there, and it'll look like a smooth made into the whole tank. You know what I mean? Seamless too. That's the beauty of this. When doing it this way, there'll be no seam. So when somebody looks at it and goes, "Damn, wonder how they did that." You know what I mean? It's all like molded together. You can't tell where it begins and ends. All right, let me get that cleaned up, and I'll bring you back shortly, and we'll start getting this the mud and stuff on it. We're gonna need a little at a time, and I'll explain why here in a little bit. That'll probably do it. This stuff has been sitting, so I hope it's a little dry, but the mud should make it okay. I got this stuff up there. It's like a honey. If you got like some real thick fiberglass, or it's already what's inside of when you buy this stuff. But if you add a little more to it, it makes it like this. It makes it real smooth and like real creamier than what it was when you started. You don't want to put too much, and you don't want to put not enough. Just to where it's changed the color. I usually just put a little line on the top of it, and then it'll dry. If it's drying too slow, just add a little bit more next time. That's a good way to tell. They got so many methods on how much to add, but I don't know what the true. All right, let's go over here. So all I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna take this stuff and do exactly what you see I'm doing. Try to work at a decent pace. If it's hot outside, you guys, this stuff is definitely gonna dry faster. But we're in the middle of the winter right now. But the heat is on in here. And don't worry about getting this stuff off. You just put a little thinner on the rag. It'll come off. Come on, now it's gonna make me touch it all my hands. Now I'm just gonna take a little bit and go around it. Might have mixed up just enough. And the only reason why I'm putting it in the center, like this area here, is because just if there was some low spots, stuff like that. I'll do one more final. Okay, that's a good start. All right, let's go over and clean off. It loosens it right up. I'm sure this ain't the healthiest to do to your hands, so if you don't want to deal with that, put some gloves on. I've been doing this for over 30 years. I probably shouldn't have started doing it to begin with. Like working without gloves, is what I mean. And body work too, I'm not a big fan of it. Even though I can do it somewhat decent, I hate it. It's just so dirty. It's just so, all this stuff, the chemicals, the paint, I am not a fan at all. All right, what I'm gonna do is, when it starts to get a little hot and starts to tack up, the harder it starts to go. We don't want it to dry completely. We're going to take a little 36 and we're just going to shape around it just to get our shape. I already done this side. Look over here. I already shaped it. I'm not finished with it. So this side has already been shaped. And I did it with this. So now it's ready. I can take a piece of 80 and kind of smooth it out some. If we need a tiny bit more, we can just kind of like just do our little light swipe. Let that dry all the way. Don't do this no more. And then just go around it with some 80 or 120 or 180 or something and clean it up. And then it's ready for primer. Don't forget, the primer is going to help too in a lot of areas. So just get it nice and smooth and close to where it feels okay, and then you're good. The primer, we can load it up on there and let that dry, and then we'll shape that also and form it. Once again, guys, it's a gas tank. We're not making a showroom piece out of this, so however it looks when we're done, that's how it's going to look. But it's a gas tank that's going to work. He ain't going to have no more leaks no more, and this ought to last him the rest of the time he's going to have it, or whatever. It may last forever, who knows, but we still got to do the inside, but we'll do that when we're working on this part. I only mix up enough mud at a time in an area because of what we're going to do with the shaping. I don't want to put a whole bunch on here and then not be able to shape it how I want, because it's going to dry on me, and then it's going to get hard, and it's going to be harder to work with. So one area at a time for me, it's how I've always done it. A lot of guys, they'll cover this thing all in mud, and then that's it. They'll go back around it with this on a ripping DA and just kind of rip it all up and have a bunch of crap dirt in the shop, and maybe that's the way to do it. That's not the way I do it. So, but I'll bring it back here just when this starts to get a little warm and starts to set up. Shouldn't take long because I got more hardener than that side, but I'll know when it does. See, it's still not yet. I'll bring it back here shortly. All right, what we're looking for is this will start to get less tacky and start warming up, and that's kind of when you want to start shaping. So all I'm going to do here is, I got a little curved part in this, and just take it and just kind of shape around in there. I'm just lightly going on this, guys. I'm not even trying to dig it or nothing. I'm just going real light. Just try to shape some of our little areas out. That's it. If you go through, don't worry about it. I'm gonna try to get where I can't block you guys. Yep, just lightly, because it's still soft now. We're still soft. On the other side, I went a little bit too early on it, and it was really clogging my paper up. That's how you can tell if you're too soon. If it's clogging your paper real bad, just stop for a second and just stay right there. Don't go anywhere, because it's going to keep on drying. And then just try it again in a few, like a minute or so, because like I said, and depending on the temperature outside, in your shop, whatever, it's going to dry quicker or less. Yeah, this one I went a little bit too long, but that's okay, because now we ain't going to dig it out of there. Maybe not. Maybe not. No, we're good. Sometimes in the summer, it's weird. It actually feels a little different, to me anyways, when the temperature's a little warm outside. Like I said, all I'm doing is knocking down the little ridges and misshapes. That's all I'm doing. Just so it's easier to work with the 80. That's all this is for. Keep your blowgun handy. If you do it this way, you'll find that your end bodywork result is much better. I've done this for years, since I was a kid, and a few people showed me how to do it this way, and it might be a little bit more work, you know, than some people do, but I'm telling you right now, it is. See what I mean by this nasty dirt or dust? Not my favorite, guys. But I'm telling you, you do it this way, and your stuff will look a lot better, because now you have it's shaping up easier for you. You won't over sand it. All you're doing is kind of just like, some guys do this like on flatter panels with like a cheese grater and get their shape first. This is the same concept right here. But you're not going to get a cheese grater in these little curves, so you got to kind of do it just like this. And remember, stay light. Don't try to dig. Just go light. Light. Keep going back over it. There's no rush. You can use this technique on all your body work. Doesn't need to be because it's a gas tank. It's better to use like board paper, because you can take smaller strips of it and make a smaller curve, and it'll work better for you, like in areas like up here. I got to try to make it with this piece here, but I don't have any. This is just a regular DA one, but it's what we have. But I should have just cut pieces off of this, is what I should have done. But that's okay. It's working. And guys, some people would have just not even put this round bar on the edge here. But when this is done, you'll say, I'm glad you done it. I'm glad I did it. However you want to say it. Because it's just going to look good. Once again, it'll make you feel better about your work. You want that extra little mile. And you know, everybody's telling you your tank looks good, and all your buddies. Keep going light. I want to keep reminding you. Keep going light. It's actually starting to work really nice now. I'm just trying to catch it and not be too late for you guys. It's feeling pretty good. It's feeling good enough for 80 is what I mean, for our next step. Hope I ain't blocking you guys. I'm using my other GoPro, because my GoPro 9 or whatever it is, I think it's a 9, you don't even have to use it and it burns up the batteries. Something's definitely wrong with that thing. I've tried every setting. People say it's in your settings, go in there and shut this off and shut that off. I got everything off, still does it. There's definitely something wrong with it. Okay, that's feeling pretty good, guys, all the way around. I mean, good enough for the next step, which I said, but I wanted to show you guys this. What I'm going to do next is This feels really good, you guys. I mean, the shape is all flat and good. This all feels smooth. So now a little bit of 80, and that's going to be nice and dry and hard. You can just go in there and clean that up real nice with some 80. All this stuff, kind of just clean it up real nice. And you could stop right there. I'm probably going to take just a light little pass around this little edge in here, and I'll let that completely dry, and then I'll go back over it with 80 real quick. This is all good here. I don't need no more in here. And then after that, it's ready for primer, both sides. So I'm probably going to go ahead and start on this stuff here and around my necks and all that stuff. I'll probably go ahead, I don't know, I may do these first, but I just want to get this out of the way. This is probably going to be my most work right here. So same thing, I'm going to swipe that. When I'm applying this Bondo, I'm going to keep my I don't even know if you guys can see that. Yep, you can. So when I apply that, I'm going to find, I got a bigger one than this even, but you want to keep it curved as you're, like with your fingers. And when you're applying that mud, you want to stay all the way slanted and just put that stuff on there. I'm going to get all this stuff out of the way. You know what I mean? You want to keep it all even as you can down through there, because when we shape it again like we just did this, you know, we'll take it and just curve it down through there and shape it all nice real quick. And then we'll probably put one more little layer on it, and this will be finished. But same way, we'll do all this the same way. So let me get through all this a little bit, and I'll bring you guys back. There's really no sense in keep showing you the same thing over and over and again. If there's something else I feel that you guys should know, other than how I'm doing stuff, I'll bring you back. But this is how it's going to be. It's looking good, guys. All right, I'm going to give you guys a little update on this thing. I got the first layer on the back here. I'm going to take you around it here in a second. Sorry, guys, I'm feeling a little sick today. There's a couple little high spots and a couple little low spots. I'm going to tap them around with the pinpoint hammer, and then I'm going to put one more coat on that, and that's going to be it. Up here, I really didn't. I just had some leftover mud, and I started to put it on there. Okay, on our bead rolls, I just took a piece of tape on this one and that one, and I just put it at the very back side of it, kind of like that. I'm just doing it quickly right now, and that way when I put my mud on it, it didn't go, you know, beyond that. And then as soon as I was done swiping it, I peeled it off. So then that way when I sanded it, I still have our bead rolls, and I can sand down from it. So just in case you're wondering what I did with that, let me take you around it real quick. So if you look, let's go from this side. So if you look down through it, it doesn't look bad at all, other than them little spots I was showing you guys, like a couple there, and it feels pretty good. It feels pretty good actually. And all I did was that first swipe, and when I put my mud on it, I swiped from the top over like that into the bottom bead roll, and I also taped it too. That way the mud stayed thick all the way down it. And then as soon as it started to get past the tacky point and started to warm up, I started shaping it quickly with the 36. Just a little pointer, if you start out with 36 and shape your mud, when it comes time for the 80 and the rest of it, you're already, you know, pretty close. And it'll help you sand it easier and shape it easier. If you start with like an 80 or something like that in the beginning, you're basically going to polish the mud, and it's going to make it real wavy and lumpy. The 36 will cut into it even and just keep a flat hand or use a block, either way. Now in this round here, after I swipe it with the mud, I'll probably use a block just to try to get it as smooth and as straight as possible. As we said before, it's just a gas tank, you guys, but I still want it to look good. But as far as making it perfect, there's no sense in it. But we're going to make it look as good as as good as possible for being that it is a gas tank. But all this stuff turned out nice too on both sides. I'm going to get this one first because this is the biggest part here. There's a little spot right here that's kind of low. I'm going to swipe it this round, and then as soon as we get this to where I like it, and this up here I'm going to do. And as soon as we get it, like it, then I'm going to go ahead and get our ends on the inside, like we swiped this part. I'm going to go ahead and get that, and then around our sending unit area, and I may just go ahead and swipe a little bit of amount around all of our little fittings, just to make them look a little smooth. And then we'll just pretty much hand sand some 80 around all the areas, clean it up and get some primer on it. And then only thing I'm gonna do with the primer is I'll probably just hand sand with some 180 the whole thing, you know, the next day, and then get it painted. So, but I'll take you through all of it. So let me get this mud ready here, and I'll show you how I'm putting it on, just so you guys can see that part too. I'll try to do this as quick as I can. Sorry about that heater, guys. It is cold out. I got the furnace running and that thing. I try to not run my furnace as hard because that propane is so expensive. All of it is. You can't afford to do anything. It's ridiculous. All right, so as you can see, whoops, I got my tape on here. I'm gonna try to get a little bit more on this one this time, just to give us some kind of a, then I can swipe it with my hand, with my finger later. Don't worry about how it looks, because that 36 will take care of it. Try to get it on as smooth as you can, but if you don't got it on there smooth, real smooth, don't worry about it. If you could see what the tape's doing there, I think this time's going to be pretty good. Usually when you're doing something like this, when you're trying to get a pretty bad area, if you put it on thick the first time and shape it pretty good, the second round you'll notice when you're putting your mud on, it's looking pretty good. That using this big spreader is kind of hard, but you almost want to when you're doing something like this, because of the area. You want to get it on there quick. I'm going to go ahead and start our fill on this back one right now. Might as well. And we'll go ahead and get our around the our fitting here. Try to get this real quick too. Let the mud do its thing. Well, we mixed up just what we needed. Starting to set up. Okay, I ain't gonna fool with it. All right, we'll get what we gotta get. Let me get this. I'll be right back. Yeah, I wanted to get my mud off my board and my spreader before it was really set up. Okay, yeah, it's already starting to set up. So, all right, I'm gonna do the same thing on this, just like we did these. As soon as it sets up enough to where I can start shaping it here in a minute, I'll start cheese grading it, getting it to where I like it. But I think this is the final build coat. It's looking pretty good, actually. Actually, it's looking real good. Yeah, it's looking really nice. So, and then once I get that down, I'll bring you guys back and we'll go to the next part. I'm gonna have to probably put some more around here. I got a couple low spots here where it started setting up. That's okay. And then we'll do our ends and around the rest of that stuff. Get that ready, and then I'll do a final inspection. Maybe we'll go around and do a little bit of swiping lightly, where we could hit it with some 80 before we put the primer on it. So give me a few and I'll bring it back. Okay, this thing is feeling really good, you guys. Despite what you see on camera there, these are little teeny high spots. I'm probably not even gonna fool with them. The rest of it feels so good. So what we're gonna do, there's some pitting and lower spots in here. I'm gonna put a little more there, swipe the insides on our lips here. I'm gonna do one more little smooth swipe on both outsides, and I'll let them dry completely and just sand them out with 80. And then once we get that settled, we'll flip it down this way, and then we'll clean up this stuff here a little bit, and get some primer on it. The rest of it I think is going to be a-okay. I mean, for a gas tank, you know what I mean? I mean, how many gas tanks do you see that don't have a little something in them, you know, a ripple or a crease or a, so I think it's looking pretty good. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do what I just said, and I'll bring you guys back here shortly when we're doing the tops there. There's really not much to see there, guys. I already showed you. All I'm doing is shaping with the 36. This time I used the, I went ahead, like I said before, I used my Durablock. This is these are good. These are very nice blocks. I bought a whole kit. It comes with a long one. Then I bought another one that was separate. It's really long. And then it goes off from small to medium to large in the whole kit. I think it's like a 5-piece, 4 or 5-piece. But these are super nice, Durablock. Durablock, if you see that, by the way, guys, this is not a sponsor by them. But if you guys see that Durablock, let me know. All right, so I did use the Durablock on, you know, and kind of all I done was just like round, took it down through my flat areas, and what a difference it made just to do that. I mean, this all feels great. I'm telling you right now, if this stuff here was already finished and that, other than these little pits, we could probably shoot a bunch of primer on that and 180 it out, and it would probably be like, wow, you overdid it, you know what I mean? But that's not what it's about. It's about making it look, your job look good, you know what I mean? So, all right, let me do that, and I'll be back with you guys when we're doing the top here. All right, you guys. Oh, do I hate how messy this is. Okay, so we are 80'd, well, we are formed with the 36 or 40, feathered out with the 80, and right now you could go with a heavy, high build primer, wouldn't hurt a thing. I'm gonna go over it real quick with a 180, just so it's got less, you know, filling to do. And so kind of, let me go over real quick. So, like I said, on the right there, that's the trick to everything on bodywork. Use something flat. Even on your curves, all you gotta do is keep working it. Crisscross it. Keep going with it. And when you're done, take your hand, curve the paper, clean it up. All you're doing with your hand is cleaning it. This did the work for you. Both times, even when you're doing the 36 or the 80. You don't want to take too much. You don't want to re-deform it. So all you're doing with this is just solidifying the curve with your palm. You know, and if you guys could be here right now to feel that, you'd say, man, that feels pretty good for no more than you've done. And it would be the same way if you did it. There is no secret to bodywork, you guys. It's very messy. I hate it. I really hate it. But it does great stuff. You know what I mean? It turns something into something pretty nice. Just remember, 36 shapes it. Put enough down when you're putting it on there with your spreader. You know, 36 it out nice. And once you get a form and you feel it, that it's formed out nice, you know, you can either skim it from that point and try to do a little bit more work to it, or go straight to the 80. There's, like I said, that's it. And your primer is going to do part of your work too. When you build that primer, especially a high build primer, is like Bondo, you guys. When you spray that stuff on there heavy, you know, and build up your areas and fill in some pits or whatever you're doing with it, you know, that you're trying to do. When you go to block that stuff out with a 180 or whatever the next day or two, when it's nice and hard, it's already built some more material on your panel, on your you know, what you're working on. So that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and 180 this real quick. I'll probably just go over it by hand real fast. I ain't gonna even. I DA'd a lot of this with the 80, and then I did what I just told you. I kind of went over real quick with that, palmed it, took my fingers inside these little edges, and it, you know, whatever it needs, and you can keep feeling it. If you did your work with the 36, you're not gonna. If you go just over it quickly and do your feathering with your 80, you're not gonna ruin it. Trust me. When you go to feel it with your hand, you'll be like, man, I just did that, you know, and because you did your work a little while ago with the 36. You already shaped it. You know what I mean? So that's when you do all your work. And as I said before, I'm not trying to make this perfect. I'm just trying to make it affordable because something like this is pretty pricey, you guys, to build. You know, there's a lot of time in this. Right now, I'm every bit of 40 hours in it, easy, real easy. And I haven't even really thought about it. You know, I just know from the days I've been on it and how many hours I've been out here doing it, you know, it's 40 hours plus. You go to a shop that's charging, you know, 80 to 120 bucks an hour for fab work, do the math. I'm not even talking materials, I'm just talking about the labor to do it. So you got to be careful when you're doing something like this. But when it's something like this and you can't find something and you need it, I mean, it's got to get built. But I'm going to try to work with this guy and give him the best price that I can, you know, but I can't cheat myself either, you know, but he's going to have a nice tank. This is a beautiful tank here. So let me 180 it. I'm going to pull a few things out of the booth. We'll get it hung up and we'll get the primer on this bad boy so we can get it blocked out tomorrow or the next day when it's nice and cured. And then we'll paint it and give it to him. All right, you guys. So I got this in the booth. I got it wiped down. I got some pits here, and throughout in a couple spots here. I'm gonna try to do it with primer. Hopefully, I should be able to bury those with primer. But other than that, it's 180 and ready. So unfortunately, I cannot, I already got that. I just got to put the hardener in it and reducer. But what I might try to do is when we paint it, I might try to just set my tripod up. Problem is it's going to be in the way of me getting in and out of the thing here. I don't know how. Let's see. Maybe. Let me, give me a second and we'll try this, even on the primer. Hang on. All right, let's try this, you guys. Woo! That thing's looking pretty good. Man, I can't breathe in these. I gotta get a new, look at these filters. They are horrible. They ain't even working. I need to get a new one. I can barely breathe through it. All right, guys, I'm gonna put like two more coats on it probably, and then I'll guide coat it and bring you back when it's that far. But other than that, it's looking good. It really is. It's looking pretty good. All right, we got it all coated. I got a total of 4 coats on it. I put the guide coat on it. It's been dry for maybe 10 minutes, but it looks really good. All those pits and stuff we was worried about, they got buried real nice. It looks super nice, guys. It really does. It's gonna be a pretty sweet tank. Everything worked out good. I mean, for a gas tank and doing it as fast as we did it, you know, as far as the mud work and all that, not taking too much time and trying to make it look like super perfect, you know what I mean? That's what I mean by doing it quick, but really nice. All right, so hopefully by tomorrow it's good enough to start blocking on and sanding on, because I'd like to get this thing painted. If we can get it sanded tomorrow, I'll paint it tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. I'll come out in the morning and see, because I'm not going to leave the heat in here all night. I'm going to let this thing run at least for a good hour or so. It's so about 70 degrees in here right now, and the fan's running. I'm getting ready to cut it off. Matter of fact, we can cut it off now. Fan's running. Yeah, we can cut that thing off. No sense in. I gotta probably go through and clean my beads here soon. I ain't cleaned them in a while. The ones in here, anyways. Yeah, this will keep it warmer in here because I got those filters up there. It's kind of like a downdraft booth. It sucks in from the top, pulls down, and then goes down at the bottom of that fan over there. This is a heck of a booth. It works really nice. Years ago, me and my son-in-law redone it, and we put the drop ceiling in there with those lights, and that was a game changer. I mean, it really was. It was hard to see in here. All we had was like 2 lights, one down there, or maybe 3, one down there, one in the middle, and then one back on this side to that existing ceiling up there. And it was not good. And I never had those filters up top. Those was put in this round. The guy that originally done it did a horrible job. Actually, the ceiling fell in here. Yeah, the concrete slope, buildings crooked, drywall falling. That's the kind of people I had working in here, guys. Just trusting people, you know what I mean? Trying to trust everybody. Save a buck or two if I can, and this is what I got. So not always good to save a buck. So let that be a lesson from Steve's mistakes. All right, like I said, hopefully by tomorrow it's ready to hit it. I'm just gonna like hit it with some 180, knock it down, block it out, get all my little scratch marks, whatever I can see throughout it with the guide coat, and then hit it with a little bit of 320 maybe in a Scotch-Brite pad, smooth it out real nice, probably just paint it black. I wish I had some, I got a little bit, but I don't know if I got enough, low matte sheen clear. So when you put it on, it's kind of like a satin finish, but I don't think I have enough. And I don't want to go buy more, it's very expensive. Like I said, it's just going to add more to the price of this thing, and it's going to keep on going up and up and up, and I can't keep doing that. I'm trying to use what I got. So, all right, guys. Like I said, I'm feeling a little crappy today. I've got some kind of a flu or thing coming in. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to see the doctor in the morning, but once I get done with all that and get back here, I'll check it and see if it's ready. If it is, you guys will be the first ones to know. Okay, it's the next day. I just tested an area here, and it's sanding beautifully, so it's ready. I left the heat on last night for probably a good 7 or 8 hours, so, and it was at least 85 in here, so this thing turned out pretty good. There's an update on what this is for. 51 to 53 F100 panel truck. I guess it's the only thing it fits. So that's what it's out of. So I thought I wanted to tell you guys that. I kept on saying it wrong, but all I'm going to do today is sand out this tank and I'll show you here in a second what the guide, I showed it in other videos, but I'm going to show it again for those of you that, I encourage you to go back and look at like the one where I put the rockers and the steel flatbed on the Ford truck. It shows what I've done in there with all the guide cut stuff, but let me show you here. I apologize, guys, about my talking, my nose. I got a sinus infection and an ear infection. Okay, so as you can see, I misted black over that. So and this is 180. So what you want to do is, I'm using my hand on the curves just so it stays curvy, but you want to sand that until the black is gone or your imperfections are out of it. Now I've got 4 heavy coats of primer on this, but you can see how I took that out of there. And that's all that guide coat is for, so you don't over sand or take out areas you shouldn't be taking out. If you look now, hang on. And that's a nice smooth and feels pretty straight actually area, but that's what that guide coat's for. It keeps you honest when you're sanding. You see how that came through? That was a high spot in the metal. So that was higher than the primer and everything that we done to it, but you can't feel it because when I sanded that, the primer leveled out the area. Now on a vehicle that you want to make a show car or whatever, if that would be happening, I would probably tap that in a little bit if it was too high, skim it and reblock it and then fill it. Just so we were sure we didn't have no dents, nipples, lumpies, whatever, to make our panel flat and nice before we paint it. And it shows in your end product. So that's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to sand this out. I'm doing it in the booth so I can blow it out of the fan when I'm done. I don't want to make more of a mess out in the shop. And then we'll rehang it and paint it today. It's going pretty quick here, so maybe a couple hours in sanding and we'll be ready. And prepping it, getting it back on there. So I'll bring you back when I'm to the next step again. Okay, we got this thing ready. And I was pretty much on the money with the time frame. Actually, it was like 2.5 hours, but it turned out super nice, guys. I got it wiped down. It's all ready. It's all blowed off. I got all the holes plugged. Now, I wanted to mention to you guys, after I 180'd it, I went back around it with some of the burgundy Scotch-Brite pad, and that'll knock down all your edges, like on your round areas, like where you sanded, any of the curves. So when you do it all by hand, and it'll make it super smooth, and that's exactly what it is. There's a couple little pits here and there that I seen throughout when I was sanding it, but like I said, guys, it's a gas tank. I think it's gonna look really, really good. Here's a couple here. Those were pretty big to begin with, but we'll try to fill it with the black paint and see what happens. But yeah, it looks really, really nice. Even that back where it got welded back across there, that's actually the bottom of the tank, I think. Remember, we went through all that dilemma. I'd say that's the top right here. So I'm gonna try to do what we said. I got the gun, I got the black in the gun. I'm gonna try to set this up in the tripod. Hang on. I think that's the best as I'm gonna get it, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and take my microphone off just so I ain't overspraying it. And yeah, just let it kind of play throughout. I'm only gonna do one coat of the black maybe, and then one coat of the clear. So let me grab my gun. I'm gonna cut the mic off. All right, we got it black. So I got it kind of hot here too. Well, it's only 75 in here, but it turned out really good. So the little fishies I was having, they was not actually just right there. They were across the back, across the front, across the top, across the bottom. They were everywhere. So what I found out was, not only was it too cold in here, but I used let me show you. I had an old, just like I got this one right here, how I got this cup on this gun, that's one I've used before and I just cleaned it up. So whatever was in the screen, whether it was dirt or whatever, this is all new now for the clear, but whatever it was, between that and the cold created it, because I changed it, turned the heat up, and it could just be coincidental, it could have just been too cold, but I turned the heat up and changed my cup and everything. I put 2 dust coats on it, let that set up for a minute, and then I put on 2 wet coats, and there you have it. It looks good. So I think what we're gonna do is same thing. I'll give me a second. I'm gonna mix the activator and this clear. I'll set this up and we'll do one. I'll record one clear coat. All right, let's check this bad boy out. I got the fan off. Looking good, looking really good, guys. I mean, it's looking really nice. I mean, imagine if we'd have spent more time on you know, putting more Bondo on it and just for whatever reason. Like I said, it's a gas tank. Look at it. Look how it turned out. This is what I was talking about. I mean, just the time we put in it, whether, I mean, it was quite a bit of time, but you can really look at what you could do with not too much Bondo work. The Bondo is what I'm talking about. I mean, and that's black. You know, black's the hardest thing to, I got a couple little dirts right there, but no biggie. But I mean, it looks super nice, man. Super nice. That thing's gonna look good in this truck. And everything turned out super nice. Really nice. I don't know what you guys can see, but with the lights that are on it, but I'm happy with it. I mean, I am for what I've done to it and the time I got in it and the places I know that I could have worked a little more and made them better. It doesn't even matter because it looks good. That's what I mean. But that looks really good, guys. Really good. Okay, well, we'll let this thing do its thing of drying, and we'll come in tomorrow, get it down, and that'll be it for this video. But I'll bring you guys back tomorrow when the heat's cutting on. Hang on. That thing ain't ran in 20 minutes. Now it kicked on. Anyways, I'll bring you guys back tomorrow. All right, you guys, here's the next day. This thing is actually really nice. So I'm going to post a picture of what the panel truck looks like. They're pretty awesome. So it's 51 to 53 panel truck F100, and they are pretty sharp. And that's why it's so difficult to find these, because there's not probably very many panel trucks out there. But let me take you around this guy. This thing turned out pretty nice. So it ought to look, I think he's redoing this whole thing, so this thing ought to really, you know, be a nice part of the build. But it's still a little printy, the clear. It's not all the way cured yet. So, but it's enough to where, you know, nothing's it'll flow out on its own. Like if you put your finger and try to tap it somewhere with the fingerprint, it goes away. So it's in the stages of curing. So I'm just going to leave it alone for a day or two, let it cure out, and then after that he can come get it. But I'd say if this thing is visible, he could probably, you know, wet sand it a little bit and buff it on the areas that showed, like on the top here, and make it really look like a mirror, you know, in the vehicle, because it's, you know, it turned out nice. It looks really nice. So that ought to be a good part of the build there. And all the, you know, the bead rolls look nice. All of it turned out super nice. All this stuff in here are, you know, the rod we added. It's nice and smooth and flows in really nice. I mean, I'm telling you right now, if this was something you could buy new for these, they wouldn't be this nice. If you were, you know, if a company had them, because when they punch them out, there's a lot of machining marks in them and just a bunch of stuff. Sorry, by the way, guys, the sound of me, I'm sick still. I got a bad sinus infection and ear infection, but so there's old, and then there's new, looking really good. I'm happy with it. I think he will be. All right, guys, thanks again for watching these videos. Please hit the like button and maybe drop me a little comment on these. It really helps the algorithm of these videos to keep them in the feed. I really appreciate that. I don't know what we're going to be doing next. I am going to do a follow-up on the plasma machine. There's some things I've done different on it. Just added some stuff to it. It still works great. That machine is pretty awesome. I'm getting ready to start cutting some stuff out on it for another project, but maybe the bandsaw, I'm not sure. We'll get into something here. Or we'll see. There's another company hopefully coming on board with a welder. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully, it's fingers crossed. I'm excited about it to bring them on board with Midwest Customs. I'm going to be pretty happy with it. But I'll tell you that as soon as we get to that. But thanks again, guys. Until the next one, I'll see you then.